In case you've forgotten this one, this is one of my favorites from the media. Chris Cuomo on CNN actually asked Chris Cuomo, I am quoting, Fredo, what would you do if the president said, I am a racist? Checkmate. Whoa, you got me, Chris. The main quality rewarded by modern journalism is drama queenery. You get to be the princess who first felt the pee. All these James Comey, Christine Blasey Ford, Fiona Hill, the whistleblower, they all write books like The Politics of Truth, Speaking Truth to Power, My Truth. Yes, Trump is just like Hitler. Hitler killed 6 million Jews. Trump tweets a lot. In fact, I think Trump doesn't tweet enough. I love his tweets. It's my favorite thing about him. It's like having Nicki Minaj in the White House. Among my favorite tweets were Trump's tweets allegedly against the Squad that the media called racist. They were such an effective tweet that that's why the media called them racist. They acted as if Trump had singled out Ilhan Omar, Pramila Pramajar, just find me a congresswoman of color. No, what Trump's tweet identified, none of them by name, by the way, was progressive women who came from monstrous regimes, escape to this country, and start bossing us around. Yeah, I can figure out who that was. I'm pretty sure it's Pramila Jayapal, Rashid Tlaib, and Ilhan Omar. I conclude that on the basis of the fact that they were all three progressive women who came from monstrous criminal countries, or their parents did in the case of Rashid, and they immediately get here and start yelling and saying vicious things about our country. Of course it's appropriate to criticize people who do that. They come here, I mean, it would be like taking, incidentally, Ilhan Omar, the reason she had to flee Somalia was that her family was part of the ruling dictatorship, and she had to flee, and her family flee, to escape vengeance from her own people. They were going to string them up. It's like inviting Joseph Mengele here, and, tell us how to run our country. Why is the default solution to any problem, to anyone, any place in the world? You forgot your lunch, you got fungus under your toenail, the water won't stop running. Pack a suitcase and move to America. Can't we help them there? Were we short on Americans who hate our country? Because I really think we had quite enough right there at the New York Times. But the media claimed that Trump had only attacked the progressive women who came from monstrous regimes and started attacking our countries because they were people of color. Does this mean I can't complain about bad restaurant services if the waitress is a POC? Can you report an assault if the mugger was a POC? People are really getting sick of this, the media accusing everyone of racism all the time. Since there's obviously no penalty to flinging around the word racist, my plan is to start referring to, when I'm writing a column, Nancy Pelosi, racist, Bernie Sanders, white supremacist, and Senator Mitch McConnell, a senator of color. I don't know if you saw the Democratic debate last night. It was a lot of fun. Good time was had by all. One of the questions was to Andrew Yang, pointing out that he was the only person of color on the stage. One of my favorite Twitterers, Hotep Jesus, if you're not following him, I insist you follow him. He tweeted out, "What color is Yang? Eggshell?" Which reminds me, unless you're descended from American slaves, not interested in hearing about affirmative action for you. No, you're in it with the rest of us here. Affirmative action, set-asides, all of that, it was to remedy slavery and Jim Crow. It isn't for, any person in the world with a grievance. It's just a very strange thing that, you know, we get immigrants on Friday, and by Monday, well, I noticed there are no ties on the evening news. Wait, you were just escaping. How about a thank you? No. We're going to sign on. We're going to piggyback on the black experience in America.
I feel ill a little bit because of everything that is taking place, and I think every time I hear about I hear of conversations around war, I find myself being stricken with PTSD. I find myself being stricken with PTSD.
Ilhan Omar has found herself in the headlines once again. This time, she decided to invoke PTSD, claiming she is stricken with it as a result of the recent conflict with Iran. You know what, Congresswoman Omar? I take deep offense to what you are doing. As someone who understands what it's like to live in a war zone, I can tell you I know exactly what it's like to be blown up from rockets. I spent months in the hospital and still have shrapnel in my bones as a result of the bombings I lived through. I spent my youth living in an underground bomb shelter. I know what it's like to bury most of my friends before the age of 18. My childhood was stolen by war. I know what PTSD from war is all about. I've lived it. And I have a very serious message for you, Congresswoman. Your attempt to use PTSD as a mechanism to bolster your own dangerous anti-American foreign policy agenda is a spit in the face of service members, wounded warriors, and every person who has experienced war firsthand. Trying to use something like PTSD to justify your claim that one of the most brutal terrorists in the world should have lived is not only dishonest, it is despicable. Qasem Soleimani was a man consumed by evil with the blood of countless innocent lives on his hands. Nothing you can say or do will change that. He deserved exactly what he got. And while you gripe and complain about America, people like me and our brave military, people who have actually suffered due to war, are out there fighting tooth and nail for our country. We understand that people like Qasem Soleimani make it their life's mission to kill people who do not subscribe to their radical ideology. I will always proudly stand by our flag, our president, and our exceptional nation to make sure that religious extremism, drivers of global instability, and threats to freedom and democracy are appropriately dealt with. I will always stand up for the country that saved me from the war-torn Middle East, not the terrorists who drove me out. So please, Ilhan, instead of using PTSD as a device to position yourself as a victim, use it to condemn the evils of anti-Semitism, terrorists, and their sympathizers like the Council on American Islamic Relations. You could have become a voice for freedom, Ilhan, but instead, you decided to become a tool for the radicals that have destroyed both of our home countries. Shame on you.
Congresswoman Ilhan Omar spent the last 2 years denying serious allegations that she married her own brother so he could stay in the United States. Well, now a member of the Somali community in Minnesota has come forward with new evidence. Fox's chief breaking news correspondent Trace Gallagher is standing by in our West Coast News Bureau with all the details. Trace.
Laura, when the accusation was first made a few years ago, Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar tried to knock it down by calling it absurd. Then, when the media turned up a wedding certificate, Omar went silent, refusing to make any comments at all, saying she does not talk about her family or personal life. Well, now others are talking, like Abda Hakim Azman, a prominent member of the Minneapolis Somali community who is now on the record telling the Daily Mail that in 2009, Ilhan Omar married her biological brother Ahmed Saeed Almi so he could remain in the United States and attend college. At the time, Omar was married to Ahmed Hersi, but it was a religious marriage, meaning there was no Minnesota state record stating that she and Hersey were husband and wife. And so marrying her brother would allow her sibling to get his legal immigration documents. But Mr. Osman isn't just saying that Omar married her biological brother. He also gave the Daily Mail the name of the Christian minister who married them. That minister reportedly says she does not want to be involved or interviewed about the Congresswoman. And while Omar has refused to talk about the allegations today, when the co-host of The View, Meghan McCain, retweeted a story about the alleged sham marriage, writing, quote, "How is this not a bigger deal?" Omar responded, quoting, "Paying people to generate fake news stories in order to delegitimize me and those I represent isn't a good look. Desperation is a sad mobilizing tool." Of course, this has become a lot more than just a media goose hunt. Last month, our corporate cousin, the New York Post, reported that the FBI was investigating the marriage and had met with a source in Minneapolis, and Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, is also looking into the matter. Laura.
Trace, thanks so much tonight.